Oh, this one's a doozy. Are we in 2016 already? In terms of politics, we are. Rick Perry comes out, writes an op-ed in which he takes a nice hit at Rand Paul. He's saying, oh, remember Reagan? Peace through strength. Peace through war. They took George Orwell as like a manual, a how-to book. Anyway, that's how Rick Perry views 1984. And he went back there and then said, yeah, we got to do more war. We're going to go back to Iraq, which he has said in the past. So in this op-ed, he said, quote, viewed together, Obama's policies have certainly led us to this dangerous point in Iraq and Syria. But Paul's brand of isolationism, or whatever term he prefers, would compound the threat of terrorism even further. And he's saying that he'd be blind to ISIS. Okay, heavy charge. How's Rand Paul going to react? Well, here's how he's going to react. Watch this. There are many things I like about Texas Governor Rick Perry, including his stance on the 10th Amendment to the Constitution. I like that he reached for that one. That's like the first sentence in his op-ed. But apparently his new glasses haven't altered his perception of the world or allowed him to see it any more clearly. All right, let me see those new glasses that he's taking swipes at. This is the opening paragraph, by the way, of the op-ed. So he's pointing out the glasses on Rick Perry because he knows that everybody loves that kind of catfight, and they're going to start quoting him, and that's the -- quote coming out of the op-ed. Oh, the glasses got you. I remember people in Texas are charging Rick Perry of being a metrosexual because of the glasses, and that he took off his Texas boots. Okay, so now Rand Paul continues, more cattiness. There are obviously many important events going on in the world right now, but with 60,000 foreign children streaming across the Texas border, I'm surprised Governor Perry has apparently still found time to mischaracterize and attack my foreign policy. In other words, he's saying, watch your own border, okay, and don't come talking to me about my foreign policy. He gets into specifics. He says, Perry says there are no good options. I've said the same thing. President Obama has said the same thing. So what are Perry's solutions? He's talking about Iraq crisis. And why does he think they are so bold and different from anyone else's? Okay, and then he says about Iraq, I asked Governor Perry, how many Americans should send their sons or daughters to die for a foreign country? A nation the Iraqis won't defend for themselves. How many Texan mothers and fathers will Governor Perry ask to send their children to fight in Iraq? Now, look, you can call it catty, but that's also true, and that's also a really nice kidney punch, but in policy. So there's at least substance to this attack. And I believe Rand Paul's on the winning side of this argument, not because I agree with him. If anything, that would probably hurt his chances on the Republican side, but because I believe Republicans agree with him. Really? You're going to send your sons and daughters to Iraq now when you know that they won't even defend themselves? When 30,000 Iraqi soldiers ran from just 800 ISIS fighters in the city of Mosul? You're going to send your sons and daughters to fight for them? Go ahead and ask Republicans, and I guess you will in the primary. My guess is they're not going to side with Rick Perry on this. And Rand Paul says, I will not hold my breath for an answer. Refusing to send Americans to die for a country that refuses to defend itself makes one an isolationist. Then perhaps it's time we finally retire that pejorative. Okay? So he's taking some serious body punches here to Rick Perry. Let's see if he finishes them off. Last quote here from Rand Paul in this context. Today, the overwhelming majority of Americans don't want to send U.S. soldiers back into Iraq. Is Perry calling the entire country isolationist too? Damn. He's like, did you just insult all Americans? Is that what you did, Rick Perry? Doesn't look like you can see straight from your metrosexual glasses. So this is a nice counterattack because it takes good conservative swipes at him, it insults him, but it actually also has substance, and substance that he's likely to be proven right about, not just in terms of policy, but also in terms of politics. So if Rick Perry wants to go into any primary in the country, including a Republican primary, saying, yay, let's go back into Iraq, I don't think that's a winning strategy. So as much as the Republican establishment hates Rand Paul's stance because they love defense contractors and getting funded by them, I think this time around, it's not going to work for them. I think Rand Paul's on the winning side of that fight. Now, the people who disagree with me, of course, are the conventional wisdom pundits, I guess that's what we'll call them, over at Morning Joe. Hey, Joe, you think Rand Paul might win the primary?
Rand Paul will be the Republican nominee for president in 2016.
Fiction, fiction, fiction.
What?
Anybody else?
Okay.
Oh, it's not even, come on. This happens, he's going to do well in Iowa, he's going to do well in New Hampshire, he may do pretty well in South Carolina. It'll turn to the Midwest, and he will be his father's son.
Oh, I love that. First of all, he won't be his father's son. He is his father's son. That's just a fact. Okay, but of course what he's saying there is, Ron Paul, the establishment here told you that he was irrelevant and he lost those races, and so will Rand Paul. That guy doesn't even want to create more wars. We hate that guy. The establishment loves war. It breeds and lives on war. Yes, war. He's the smugness of Scarborough there. Like, oh, please, no, fiction, fiction, fiction. This is the moment of your liberation. Okay. Now, okay, you don't think he's going to win. Lawrence O'Donnell's going to step in here and ask, well, who do you think is going to win? Wait till you hear their answer.
But, Joe, someone has to beat him. Who's going to beat him?
I don't know.
That's the problem. I would have agreed with you absolutely a few months ago. I don't see how Rand Paul can get the nomination in this party. Okay,
Mitt Romney.
That's the possibility. Okay.
I really believe he is so poor. It is just, Joe, it's out of nowhere. Once again, you run that tape. Guess what? He was right. And if he's able to have the demeanor of the guy who lost, if you were a little bit looser, and I got nothing to lose this time,
Mitt Romney looser. That would be a campaign to watch.
You know, who will beat him? Somebody. I just don't see him as a nominee. And if push comes to shove, you know, here comes Mitt.
Oh, Mitt Romney. Oh, please give me Mitt Romney. Look at these losers in the establishment pining for Mitt Romney. Oh, you're in bad shape. You're hurt, dog, and you don't even know it. Donnie Deutsch on there saying, oh, if you roll back the tape, Mitt Romney was right about everything. About what? Think about what kind of bubble they live in, where the Morning Joe panel all agrees, oh, Mitt Romney was right. Oh, yeah, no, Mitt Romney nailed it. Now, Lawrence O'Donnell doesn't necessarily agree with that, but, you know, he is certainly in the minority there. Even Eugene Robinson, who's supposed to be a liberal there, he's like, well, I mean, there's Mitt. And even those guys are like, not Rand Paul. Anybody but Rand Paul. No, we got to have the wars. So even if it's good, we got to go back to Mitt. Screw it, we'll go back to Mitt. Oh, good luck with that strategy. Oh, good luck with it. Please, please run Mitt Romney again.